Welcome to Law Family. This video is helpful to the law students and newly practicing young advocates only. Today, we discuss about the sections 34 and 35 of BNS Act 2023. Corresponding law is section 96 and 97 of IPC. Private defense and right of private defense. First one is private defense. An act done in exercise of the right of private defense is not an offense and does not therefore give rise to any right to private defense in return. Example is, if a man is attacked, he need not run away and he would be perfectly justified in the eye of law. He holds his ground and delivers a counterattack to his assailants, provided always that the injury which he inflicts in self-defense is not out of proportion to the injury with which he was threatened. Limitations. The right is subject in all cases to the restrictions contained in section 1, 4 and 5 and section 37 of BNS Act 2023.
Welcome. Practice. Private defense practice and right of private defense practice. Whether right of defense should be pleaded. The accused must plead the right of defense. It is for those who raise this plea to prove it. If raised, a full account of the occurrence must be given in evidence. The circumstances should be pleaded before a court, and a plea ought to be proved by satisfactory evidence. But such evidence fails to satisfy the court affirmatively of the existence of the circumstances bringing the case within the general exception pleaded. The accused person is entitled to be acquitted upon the consideration of the evidence as a whole, that is, including plea of general exception. A reasonable doubt is created in the mind of the court whether the accused person is or is not entitled to the benefit of the said general exception. Even accused failed to establish the right of private defense, he could get benefit of it if it is established by the evidence led by the prosecution. The right of an accused person to defend himself upon a criminal charge can only be limited by the provisions of the statute law, and an accused person can set up an alternative inconsistent defense.
A plea of self-defense can be raised for the first time in appeal if facts on the record justify such a plea. Plea of alibi. Plea of right of private defense is not available to accused pleading alibi. Section 35 of BNS Act. This section says what the extent of the right of the defense is. Right of private defense arises only when the alleged wrongful or unlawful act done or attempted to be done against a person or property is an offense of the nature described in this section.
Evidence. Burden of proof. The burden of proof is upon the accused to justify his plea of right of private defense, and in the case of private defense of property, he must prove that it was his property. Plea of total denial of offense by accused. It is open for him to raise alternative pleas of right of private defense if the same can be proved on the strength of prosecution evidence itself. In a free side, sorry, in a free fight, there is no right of private defense. Once again, in a free fight, there is no right of private defense.
Court can give benefit of right of private defense even if it is not pleaded. Right of private defense extends not only to those in actual possession of the property but also to such others who act in helping the farmer to protect their right in the property. Courts have to rely more on courts have to rely more on human properties than on the assertions of the witness.
Probabilities. Court.
Again, courts have to rely more on human probabilities than on the assertions of the witnesses. Where a good deal of evidence is led by both sides, the questions of burden becomes unimportant. Important point here. In considering whether a person has exercised his right of private defense, the court should place itself in the position of the accused under the particular circumstances and not take a detached view. Plea of self-defense need not be proved beyond a reasonable doubt. It is enough if it is proved by preponderance of probabilities, that is, accused evidence side.
This video is purely theory. The Honorable Court decides each case on merits.
Thank you.
Thank you.